Hi, I am Vince Lombardi from Lombardi Guitar, and this lesson is mainly designed for beginners, not necessarily how to play chords, but how to sound good when you play chords. A lot of us start out with guitar and then a few months later we've learned a lot of chords, but we have a hard time really getting that right sound, and which is a common thing. So for example, if I play one of the first chords that I learned was a C. So when I play a C chord, and this is a common sound for beginners to get this kind of sound. Okay, where you want to sound more like this. You know, crisp, really nice. You want to get every string sounding nice. So what do we do to help that? Well, sometimes you might want to take a step back and figure out what the problem is. And what I usually do when I'm teaching students, especially beginners, I might start them out with just one finger. You got basically 5 fingers, but if you use your first finger, or 4, not counting your thumb, if you use your first finger, and let's say the C for example, we're going to put our first finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, and that's all we're going to do. And we're just going to play that note and the note below it. So this is like the C note, the 1st fret, 2nd string, and then the note below it. This is what you want to sound like. It's common that we usually get this kind of sound. The 2nd note we can't hear it. And it's kind of obvious that what's happening is your finger's leaning down where it's blocking the note. It's muting it. So you're not going to get that sound. So the important thing is to know 2 things. You want your nail short, because if you don't, your nail's going to be hitting the wood, which won't allow your finger to press down. Okay. The second thing is you want to play on your fingertip to where the note below it. See, if you notice, you're not touching the note below it. Okay. Now sometimes that can depend on where your hand is positioned. We all have a different size hand, so it's very important that you're not like, your palm is not up against the neck like this, because then it's literally impossible. So you want to have your palm at least below the neck, at least a ½ inch maybe, okay? And you want your hand out, arched out a little bit. You don't want it like too far this way, okay? That'll allow enough room to where you can leave that string open, okay? Okay, the next step, what's the next note in the C chord? If you go to the 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 4th string, which is this one right here. Okay. Now I didn't mention before, but another thing is you definitely want to press down hard enough on the note you're pressing, you're playing, and you don't want to be like, you know, like touching the fret or barely into the fret, for example. Okay. You want to make sure you're at least halfway into it, or maybe a little further, 3/4 of the way into it, towards the end, but don't be on the fret either side, okay? Because if you notice, I'm pressing hard. And if you notice, the first finger is the same way. It's not like one here and one here. You want to get that same amount of distance into it, okay? And this is another problem. You get the same. A lot of players have a tendency to, you know, block the string below it, okay? So you don't want to do that. And you want to check every string individually. Now, sometimes it might be common to have this finger down and you're doing perfectly, but when you put this down, it's a tendency to bring the whole wrist down, okay? Okay, so you want to make sure you're not doing that, okay? And then you have your last finger. So that's on the 3rd fret, 5th string. You can do the same thing. And sometimes with this one, it's even harder to eliminate from blocking the note below that one. So this is a common. Okay, so again, my palm is too close to the neck, so I'm going to bring it down like this. Okay. And one more thing, especially when you're playing a full chord, your thumb has a lot to do with where it's positioned. If you have really big hands, you can probably play over the neck. If you have small hands, you might want to play more maybe halfway down, okay? And the way you're pressing on the neck is important too. Like I'm always like this. Sometimes people want to do this, okay? And that's not a good habit. If you're not as double jointed, I would say you can be like this, but try not to be like this, okay? It's kind of an awkward thing. Or having the thumb around like this. Think of it like this. Here's the neck, okay? Okay, so, and the same thing works for every chord. Like, depending on how many chords you've played, it's the same concept. Like G, for example. A common problem is the fifth string. You know, you get this one sounding nice, but the one below it, because it's quite a stretch. Okay, so you want to do each note individually. Okay, so no matter what chord you play, it's the same thing. You don't want this for the A. You want to be able to hear that open note. It really makes a difference when you're finger picking or you're picking the notes individually. Okay. Well, anyway, if you have any requests for anything to do with learning chords or songs, I'd be glad to send a video your way. You can comment on my here on my YouTube. So until then, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.